Okay. No, forget it. I read an interview on Trash magazine about Jason some years ago, Jason's years. He was saying that you were 12 years old and you wanted to make a band together. You on the guitar maybe, and then you tried to put other people in Chris Rex, and then he was saying this interview, and the funny thing is in the end Joy Kate didn't play in this band.
That's really great.
I was reading something.
I'm so amazing.
Yeah, the idea was yours.
You were really so young. You were really so interested.
Well, yeah, I was older than that. I was. Jason was probably 15 or 14, and I was 15, and Bomber and Chris were like 13, maybe 14. I mean, I was the oldest, and I was playing with Jason and this really good friend of mine, Jamie, and we had a little band, which I don't remember the name, but it's not worth mentioning. And we would play in my parents' house, like in the garage, you know, and I mean, it was crazy. We had this little amp about this big that we plugged a mic in it. Jamie would sing. I mean, Jason would sing through that, and it would feed back all the time. So we had to put it in a little closet and shut the door. And then Jason had to like just kind of crack it open until it stopped feeding back. And then I was on the drums, and my friend Jamie played guitar. Yeah, I started out on drums. That's my first instrument, and we were awful. And then at the same time, I knew Chris Rex and Bomber. From RKO, and I was sort of messing around with those guys doing something else, and they were like, "We need a singer," and I was like, "I got the guy," because Jason was always crazy, and he was just made for punk rock singing. You know, and so they introduced them, and here's the funny part. The funny part that Jason didn't really tell you is that my mom was like really strict. Like very, very strict. I lived in like this military style kind of upbringing. Like, well, I was always in trouble, and I don't know what you guys call it, but we called it grounded or restrictions. I was never like, my best friend Jamie, still, this Jamie guy, he says, you were on restriction your entire childhood. Like, I was always not able to go anywhere. So I would have to sneak out to play punk rock shows with my drums, like running down the street, you know, to meet like these degenerates. But I was grounded so much that those guys kicked me out of the band. They were like, there was this one day they all came over to the house and they were all kind of being a little weird, and they brought this tape. And they covered the song Bloodstains by this band Agent Orange, and they played it for me, and it was really fucking good. Like, I was just like, holy shit, you know, this is gonna be awesome. And they were like, well, dude, the thing is, we don't think we need another guitar player. But the main thing was that I was always in trouble. I wasn't gonna be able to do shows anyway, so. And you know, I'd already been playing in this other punk band for a long time, and I think at the time I was like, you know, that's good. But anyways, the story's too long, but the reality is it's kind of, it would have been neat. It would have been good, but there never would have been Lagwagon, so. And I would probably be dead, because all those guys are dead now, so. Yeah, that's a great way. That's how I like to end that story. So I fully dodged a bullet, man, because it could have been an RKL, and then you just... No, I love those guys. I mean, these are the people I grew up with. And you know, Chris Rex is in Lagwagon. Is the Chris.
Also, Chris played with him.
He was the Chris Bomber. That's Chris Rex.
Okay.
So I've known these guys like my whole life.
Your father sings how many years right now? Oh,
Five.
Violet. Yeah. And to become a father influence, of course, your music,
your melodies, your lyrics,
the way to write, also the melodies.
I think it influences you indirectly, because I've always written similar. I mean, I think that my songs are kind of similar throughout the years, but I think it changes you at a base level, you know, so much that it changes everything in your life after that, you know. Of course it changes your songwriting because it changes you.
Of course.
Everything. All your priorities just are under a different focus in a different way, and so, so I mean, I don't know, maybe my songs have changed.
You play for her often sometimes. So
I do, but
she appreciates it. She doesn't like it.
She actually, there was when she was really, really young, I would play for her and sing to her and stuff. And it was great because she couldn't talk back and she just had to listen. I just stood down, the new song. No, I'm just kidding. But, but then when she started to talk, she was, for a while we'd sing together and we'd write songs about poo-poo. That's the sound that the poo-poo
You can play tonight for us?
Yeah, I can. Give me a guitar. I'll play like 5 songs.
Give me some guitar, please.
Yeah, sure.
I want to hear it.
But I hope I can remember one. But I mean, there's many. I still have this folder on one of my computers that says like
Violet songs.
It's all these Violet songs that my wife and I wrote for her. They're all funny. And anyhow, then she started to get to be maybe like 3, and all of a sudden she did not want her daddy to play anymore. And then every single time I was playing, she would just start, no! And so, I'd be like, I have to write songs. I mean, like,
it's my job.
Dad's job. Like, you have to let me write songs, but I could never get away from her, And just now, then I figured it out. When I did the acoustic record, that song on the acoustic record that she's talking on, I don't know if you know what I'm
That's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
She, I had a little studio in my basement, and my daughter would come in, and then lock doesn't work on the door, so she just, sometimes I'm doing a vocal, and you're really into it, and all of a sudden, door comes over, and that time she came in, and the tape was still recording, and she started saying, come on, Daddy, let's go outside, it's a beautiful day. I had it all recorded, and I was hearing the music in the headphones while I was listening to her with an ear off, and I just this has to be this way. This has to be this way. So I moved it a little to make it work, but
just play.
They're all like something like let me think. Okay, something like poo-poo in your pantalones. Got some poo-poo in your pantalones. Poo-poo in your pantalones. It smells crazy. Poo-poo in your pantalones. Poo-poo in your pantalones. They're all stolen songs. They're all old songs, I don't know. That is cool.
Just talk about something else about your life, about other bands of you and the Frisbee Gigs. What they represent for you? Just fun or play with your other friends?
Maybe I get rid of the guitar. I feel kind of funny, like, well,
you look like
being an artist, it's crazy, it's a hard life.
The roadie.
What were you saying?
About what about represent for you? Just fun.
Yeah, it's
I
mean, we started the band because all of our bands were always, we always said we can only play all ages shows, where we come from, like the punk rock thing, of course, that was always you did. You always played all ages shows. At some point, we just got old enough that it didn't really matter anymore. But that's the thing that I think most punk rock bands kind of have, that thing about all ages shows. So the Gimme Gimme's thing, we started that band in San Francisco because we all lived there, so that we could just play pubs, bars for our friends, and it was just total escape. And it started that way, and then we made some 7-inches and people bought them, and then we made a record and a lot of people bought them, and then all of a sudden we were touring in Europe, and it was like, I still go, really? And so it's really funny. But I just call it the holiday band, because to me it's like super easy.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how drunk you are on stage. If you make mistakes, we call that more notes, In our band, like, it's like the quantity instead of quality. Like, Joey Cape's over there. Like, Spike will say it all the time when I have a really bad night on. Like, Spike will be going, Joey Cape, more notes. He's giving you people more. You know what I mean? Because I'm... So, I mean, it's very simple, easy, it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.